Florida is so close every election, year in and year out. The margin of victory is so tight that each group that you're trying to reach can legitimately say to the candidate, if I don't hear what I want to hear out of you, my group won't vote for you, and that could cause that person to lose. In the case of Trump, it is pretty documented that it would be very difficult, if not impossible, for him to win re-election without Florida.
And it will be hard to win Florida without winning Tampa Bay and its 3.2 million people. More registered voters live here than any other part of the state, making up almost a quarter of Florida's registered voters, all in a television market that sprawls. It's also divided, with just about as many Democrats as Republicans. In some ways, it's also a snapshot of America.
The Tampa media market is very, very resemblant of the national breakdown between rural, suburban, and urban voters. It also has a very diverse population.
But there's one group of voters who have powered the politics here. They helped Donald Trump win the state in 2016, and they could help him do it again in 2020.
Older voters are dependable voters, and dependable in two ways. They will vote in just about every election, and they tend to vote from the top of the ballot down to the bottom of the ballot.
Now, many of them are rethinking everything.
I've listed my sources of information here, of where I got the notes that I took on Donald Trump. And without reading any of this, I just kept making notes and making notes and making notes. And where Trump said something, I used quotation marks. So I completely filled this one up about a week ago, and I started on the second one. So I guess I'm calling this is my evidence file.
But Walt Sinkhorn voted for Trump in 2016.
The cumulative effect of things that he said were just too much for me to look the other way. No matter how he has helped economically, it seems like his only goal is to, for companies that he supports to get wealthy, not really looking after the welfare of all the citizens.
I think what changed for me basically was when COVID-19 came along. What do? We don't turn around and call it a hoax, because you listen to the people who know the most, who are the experts, such as the doctors, the scientists, and I feel like he didn't listen to them at all and made a decision like, oh, this isn't really going to happen and it's going to go away. And I think that was the biggest change for me that made me think, oh, wow, I need to do something different and act.
For the Sinkhorns, acting meant showing up one day at a local party office for the Democrats.
I says, well, I just want to make it clear, I am a lifetime Republican, but this election I am not going to vote for Trump. I want to vote for Biden, and I want to help.
They all reacted with claps like, yay, welcome to the fold.
Scoot more people into your fold, and that can swing an election here. Just look at the margins of some presidential votes in recent years. Donald Trump won by fewer than 113,000 votes.
We're going to keep on winning. We're going to keep on winning. We're going to win so much, and the people of Florida actually love it, don't they, huh? They love it.
For the Democrats to flip Florida, they'll need to do more than just appeal to older voters.
Gone are the days when, at least in terms of registrants, seniors are the only voters that matter. This year, it's absolutely the younger voters that are going to matter most, especially the Democrats. It's extremely difficult to get them to turn out if the candidate is not inspirational and doesn't talk directly to their issues.
At 28, Bernice Loredan is one of those younger progressive voters that Democrats need.
And we've seen with this president that, not only is he racist, but he is openly racist, and he encourages his followers as well to be racist and actually incites violence. I believe Joe Biden is the only choice that we have in this moment. But, I do believe that he needs to be held accountable, and he needs to be pushed by the progressive movement to do the right thing.
Your officers do not
So young progressives like Loredan keep pushing, sometimes with a megaphone, like at this protest over the summer after the death of George Floyd at the hands of police.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the mayor. I don't care if you're the president. Nothing scares me in this moment in confronting folks.
That is the mayor, in light blue. Jane Castor was on the job less than a year when a pandemic, then protest came to Tampa.
This has been unknown, uncharted territory for all of us. And there's no playbook that says, there's no point of reference for us to go by.
Before becoming mayor, Castor was the city's police chief.
On the federal level, I say with my 31 years of law enforcement, I've been involved in emergency preparedness and emergency response on a number of levels. And I have never, ever seen a lack of preparedness on the federal level as we did with COVID-19. I mean, literally, it turned out to be every man for himself.
It was that moment when lifelong Republicans like David and Janine Silver knew something had to change. For them, that's the president.
When confronted with the first crisis not of his doing, which was the pandemic, he's failed miserably. He's failed miserably to be prepared. He has failed to protect us. He has dismissed protecting us. He has been a lousy CEO. And if we were shareholders, I guess which we are, the board of directors and shareholders would have fired this guy.
The retired couple in their 60s lives in St. Petersburg, across the bay from Tampa.
We've been trying to do some inquiries locally about Republicans for Biden. We've been looking for that group because I have hope for the Republican Party. They kind of left me, but maybe they'll come back. And so I think it's a stronger statement to be a Republican, but choose Biden this time.
Trump may be losing older voters, but polls have him doing better among Latino voters, many of them conservative Cubans like Tony Morajon. He worries Democrats have moved too far to the left.
I cannot and I will not ever fathom any candidate that talks to me about socialism. But it's not just the Cubans anymore. I've seen Colombians now saying, hey, I don't want nothing to do with socialism. Venezuelans don't want nothing to do with it.
He just ran for a county commissioner seat, but lost in the primary.
I don't see law and order from the other side. I think a lot of Floridians are scared. They asked me a question during my campaign, what was the most pressing issue? And I think it's public safety.
It's here in the Ybor City part of Tampa that Cubans came to roll cigars in the late 1800s. Italians followed. And for 98 years, La Gazzetta has published here, the nation's only trilingual newspaper.
This is my grandfather, and this is Fidel Castro. This is in Ybor City, and this is cash on the table for the revolution to help overthrow Batista. Kind of represent what newspapers were.
Patrick Manteiga is now the third generation running the paper, taking over from his father, Roland.
My father and Bush, my father and Ford.
La Gazzetta has always been a stop for politicians. Manteiga does not hide his political lean, usually endorsing Democrats.
I'd see nobody voting against Biden. To me, this is a race for Trump or against Trump. And whoever on the Democratic side was, it really didn't matter. This is about Trump. And so the passions are high. I just don't know whose passion's higher.
A few days later, deadline. Manteiga stayed up most of the night writing his column, a political news and notes column that his father started.
Got done with 4 minutes left.
But there's also little time left to change minds. The gulf between some longtime Republicans and Trump now seemingly as wide as Tampa Bay.
I didn't pay a lot of attention to politics. However, once you retire, I think there's a time of reflection, and you try to figure out who you really are. So what have I been doing? I'm really a Democrat at heart.
We will make America great again. Thank you, Florida. Thank you.
The division that he has perpetuated and that he pushes for, it's like dividing people divide and conquer. And it just breaks my heart. I want to go out and canvass and do whatever I can to get this guy out of power because he just is totally inept. He needs to be out.